Folks, how are you doing? This is Kurt here with Manana No Mas. Uh, Let me just jump over to this real quick. I thought that was fun. I don't know if you like that or not, but I thought that was fun. So here we are, Fitness Focus Freedom Friday. We're back for another week. The comment that I put in for our title today was, how cheap is cheap? How cheap is cheap? I'm a pretty frugal person. So, like, if there's a lifetime deal on something, I'm going to take that lifetime deal. And you've seen me review different products that were lifetime deals that I've signed up for. And so, you know that, I'm kind of attracted to this idea of like, hey, if we can save money, let's save some money where it's appropriate, where it's appropriate. How cheap is cheap? Well, I did a presentation last week for the city in the benefits of using WordPress for business. Now, in that presentation, I was very clear. There's the DIY approach. You can do this stuff on your own. There are some tools out there to help you get along. I happen to run an agency in this space with 20 something plus years of experience doing this kind of stuff. And so maybe you don't want to be a webmaster. Maybe you want to hire somebody. But I ran through like the different scenarios, right? And it was a 90-minute talk, and I think there was value delivered within that talk. And out of that talk, I've had a few referrals. A few people said, "Hey, man, I really need to talk to you about website for my business." And I was like, "Hey, that's okay." Now, remember when I said it was Fitness Focus Freedom Friday? I'm at the freedom stage already. Got myself a Voodoo Ranger. Yeah, they're not sponsoring the show, but maybe they should come sponsor the show. Um, Fitness Focus Freedom Friday. It's like so important to me. Like fitness, mental health, stability, physical health, like going mountain biking, bicycle, road cycling, going to the gym, reading, right? Taking time out of the day, fitness, focus. What is business? What are the areas that I could focus on? What are the things that would help me drive efficiency, productivity, and get where I need to go as a business owner? Freedom. How do I get to disconnect when it's time to disconnect? It's how do I get to use my my time the way I see fit? And of course, it's Friday, so we just celebrate the end of a great week. Oh, that's nice. Nice and cold. Just got it. So I'm thinking about this talk I did last week and how everybody says, "Hey, I really loved your talk. I'd like to talk to you about a website for my business." And I say, "Hey, that's great." And then we go and we have these discussions. Now, remember when I gave the talk, I said there's you have options. You have different options, levels to buy in at. If you wanted to get your own hosting and build your own website, have at it. That's the joy of WordPress, right? You can do that. Just like anything else, Wix, Squarespace, Kajabi, Podia, everything's got a learning curve, and so you have to figure out what your threshold is for dealing with that. You want to come up? You want to say hi to the people? You want to say hi to the people? Come here, come here, say hi to the people. Oh, Remy the mascot. Hi, buddy. Hi. He had a shower today, so he is freshly clean. Looking good, buddy. Looking good. I know. I know. He wishes we had more freedom. I'll tell you that. He's like, "Daddy, come on out and play with me." So so one of those referrals happens today, right? So, "Hey, I want to talk to you." I said, "Great." We go out, I meet with them, and I say, "Hey, what's your use case?" We do a little bit of exploration, right? If you had your dream, what would you do? What do you think you need? What are you going to use the website for? And then, he's like, "Well, I've got all these customers." I said, "Well, okay, where are these customers? Where is this list? How, do you send them emails? How do you send them emails? What tools are you using? Is there any automation in here? Are you literally sending uh, manual emails out to hundreds of people?" And so we had the conversation. I said, "Okay, well, based on what you said, I think you need this plus this, hosting, maintenance, boom. We have a package. It fits into our startup package here locally. Now, for other agencies that hear what I'm about to say, please extend me a little bit of grace because I'm really trying to pay it forward for my community." Um, I know what you're going to say. Oh, you're driving the value down. You're making things too cheap. It's the name of the thing. How cheap is cheap, right? So for what I recommended to this guy, normally out in agency space, it's going to be $5,000 or $6,000 probably. Okay. And I'm just throwing that out there. Could people build it cheaper? Yeah, people could build it cheaper. We're talking about agencies. You're hiring a professional to do something for you. If you are a professional and you're building stuff and you're experienced with copywriting, automation, and these kinds of things, and you're willing to set the whole thing up for the customer, there's a price tag with that. Okay. Now, for those agencies that know that we're talking about, the five, six, $7,000 range on a basic site, please don't get angry at what I say next. I'm like, hey, we've got a package for locals. We're really trying to pay it forward in the community. It's a $1,500 startup. $79 a month covers your hosting and your maintenance. And that's it. Oh, ooh. I go, if you're looking to spread that out over time, we do have a website as a service option where we provide basically the same services, but it's $200 a month for the first year. And if you make all your payments on time and we don't have any billing issues and everything's great and you want to continue working with us, then we bump you down to the $79 a month for hosting and maintenance. Either option get you up and going. I mean, you're either out of pocket $1,500 or you're out of pocket $200 a month. Remember that at $200 a month, that $200 a month also covers the hosting and maintenance. So that's why it's $200 for the year and not $200 for 8 months or whatever you want to try and make that equal to. Okay. Ooh. 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 Now, as a professional in the space, you're giving somebody a $5, $6, $7,000 value. You're willing to do it for $2,400. Let's go with the $200 a month thing. So you're willing to do it for like $2,400. They only need to write a check for $200 to get started, and they're doing this. Ooh. Are there any other options? Well, yeah. Just like I said in the talk last week for 90 minutes that I gave for free, you can DIY this puppy. You want to do it yourself, get your own hosting package, make sure it loads up, WordPress, get the plugins that you want to use, pay for those plugins because you need premium versions of those plugins to do the things that we just got done talking about. So you're looking at like $650 on Cadence. You're looking at another 300 or 500 on Fluent. You're looking at you can do it and then do it yourself. Oh yeah, maybe I'll look at that. Okay, you have no idea how the internet works. You have no idea how a website works. I'm telling you, I can have you a website up in a week. And you want to know if I can go cheaper than $200 a month to get you started. Folks, this is where, as a business, and this is, I need to drive this home. As a business, we have to be cognizant. We have to be aware. We have to be, wholly conscious that we are stuck in a race to the bottom in a lot of situations, and we have to extricate ourselves from that race to the bottom. We need to pull ourselves out of that. I'm a real big proponent of value-based sales. That's why we have a training product out there. It's $45,000 for the year. You want to join? You want me to increase your business? You want to make an extra $800,000 next year? You're going to have to pay me 45 grand to get into my circles. Some people would say $45,000 for a year of coaching. That seems excessive. That seems excessive. And then there's coaches out there that charge $10,000 a month for one-on-one coaching with CEOs, and they're making $120,000 for the year for coaching. As a professional, the pricing is based on the value you bring to the table, not on the actual work that has to be performed. Things that would have taken me a month or things that would have taken me 2 months to build online a decade ago, I can now do in an afternoon. That doesn't mean I charge less. No, quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. My level of efficiency, proficiency, the quality of the work that you're getting now, when I was struggling and it took me 2 months to build something and put something together and eke out, $600 or $700 to build it, um, that was an era long ago. And now I can build those same types of sites, but at a higher level of efficiency, proficiency, and quality, and I can do it in an afternoon, and it's not 5 or $600. It's literally thousands of dollars. Um, that's the name of the game. That's when you get better at something, you're worth more. You're not worth less. That's why technicians in the automotive space struggle so greatly with this whole idea of flat rate. You see, in if you're a car mechanic and you go to put brakes on a car, let's say it pays 2.5 hours to do the brakes. So they say, okay, go ahead and do the job. And if it takes you 4 hours, you still get paid 2.5 hours to do it, right? So when you start out as a technician, you're losing, right? Because you got to get good at the job first. So you might call it on the job training if you want to be that shallow, but you got to gain familiarization through the processes. Now, over time, you're going to get to where you can do those breaks in 35, 40 minutes. And guess what? You still get paid 2.5 hours. All right. The technician's not going to get paid less because he got better at the job. That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. And it is the same in the IT space. Just because I became an expert in something and I became extremely proficient in something doesn't mean that I can afford to give it away. And so when I offer the locals this incredible website as a service deal that I offer them, because I include the plugins, I include the hosting, I include the maintenance, I help them build the first draft of their project out. I mean, I really set them up for success. And it's because I want to see my local businesses find success. It's why I do that. And so I have this amazing package for them. And instead of going, wow, that's an amazing package, they're like, ooh, is there a cheaper option? And folks, sometimes we just got to label cheap, cheap. You can be nice, you can be pleasant, you can be gracious, you can be friendly. I'm all those things. I'm all those things, man. I'm shaking hands. I'm slapping you on the back. I'm wishing you the best of success with your business. But I can't afford for my brand and for my sanity to reduce those prices any further than I have. Anybody in the hosting and maintenance space is going to hear that package and go, oh my goodness, I can't believe he's doing that. Like, what a deal, right? What a deal. So you have to hold firm. Now, I want to share with you a positive story about holding firm. About half a year ago, I bid a job to someone in an area that I used to live in. And I actually gave it was another one of these examples where, hey, should this be 10,000? Should this be 12,000? Should this be 15,000? And I said, you know what? Let's just hit them with like 6,500 bucks. I said, they've got their content, they know what they're doing. There was a lot of reasons to make it less expensive. And so I thought, well, this is a pretty direct path. Let's just quote them 6,500 bucks. And and I figured this is a quick project. We're going to knock this out pretty quickly. And right away, hey, I wanted to use you. I think you're the right guy, blah, blah, blah. However, my brother found a service provider that was local to us, and they're willing to do it for $300 a month. Now, are you hearing some similarities here? If you're wondering why I have a website as a service package for my locals, it's because of this experience. Okay. I hit him with 6,500 bucks and he says, we have a guy that's willing to do it for $300 a month. Okay. $300 a month for how long? Forever? I mean, at what point are you going to break even on the $6,500? And he's like, well, we're not even sure if he can do the kind of site that you offered to build for us. Oh, so you want to pay him 300 bucks a month and you don't even know if he has the skill set to build the job. Okay, good luck. Have a nice day. I am not racing to the bottom. I'm not dropping the price. I already offered you a smoking hot deal. And so I held firm. Folks, I got the email last night. I haven't responded to it yet. But, like I said, it's been half a year, and this is where I talk about the positives of things. I was gonna pull it up because I was gonna tell you what it said. Do 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 do. Oh my goodness, have I got a lot of spam? Where is his email? Okay. Oh my goodness, it's still going. Okay, I got a lot of messages to get through. Okay, here's the essence of it. Hey, I don't know if you remember us. Would you be able to help us with our website? And how much do you think that would cost? They already have the proposal. They already have the proposal. Here's the deal. The guy for $300 a month, he couldn't come through. He didn't have the skill set. He didn't have the experience. He didn't have what it takes to get success in the marketplace that this customer is looking. I'm a specialist in the space that this customer is looking. And I said, yeah, I'll do you a solid at, 6,500 bucks. That's half a year ago. What's happened to the economy in the last year? Do you think I'm going to be able to honor the $6,500? There's a reason why I put expiration dates on proposals. That proposal, that thing expired 30 days after they turned it down. And so now I've got to kind of re-examine their needs. I probably need to jump on a call with them and see if their needs have changed, right? Because if the guy could have done the project before, but now he can't, like, what did you increase things, or was the guy really unqualified in the first place? Like, you gave him a shot and he just couldn't come up with the website. So my point here is, as a business, we can't race to the bottom. Racing to the bottom takes the value out of ourselves, the wind out of our sails, takes away the inspiration for your staff to want to continue to do work with you, right? Takes away your margins and builds an adversarial relationship between the client and yourself. Because if the client pays you $5 or they pay you $500 or they pay you $5,000, to the client, they're out of pocket for something. And whatever they're out of pocket for, it has value to them. And whatever they're out of pocket for, they have a higher expectation regardless of the amount they paid. So whether it was 500 or $5,000, they have an expectation. And so you might as well hit them for the 5 grand and then knock it out of the park. You might as well hit it for the 5 grand, knock it out of the park. Because if you keep trying to do stuff for 500 bucks to make people happy, you ain't making them happy anyway. Anytime they pay anything, they always second guess their investment. Always. And so if they're going to second guess the investment anyway, you might as well go for the big dollar. Turn down the little stuff, go for the big dollar. When you get those deals, knock it out of the park. Knock it out of the park. Put your name and your branding on the line. Knock it out of the park, and then shoot for referrals from them so that you can sell even higher priced packages to their friends. I know that this sounds very, very strange, but for me, I'm really rethinking what I've offered to do for my local community. And I shouldn't let one experience make me take away the benefit for everybody. That's not where I'm going here with this. But here's my thought. If I say, hey, I can do this for you for $1,500, maybe that's not anchoring enough value for people. Maybe it needs to be $3,000. Maybe it needs to be 2,500 bucks. Somewhere is a number that for the masses, it anchors quality, where they go, ooh, that guy's an expert. Yeah, I can, for 2,500 bucks, I could have him do that. Maybe 1,500 bucks doesn't hurt enough. And maybe it doesn't communicate enough value. And so they think to themselves, well, gosh, if it's just 1,500 bucks, I bet you I could save that money and just do it myself. Whereas maybe if it was 2,500 or $3,000, then maybe they'd be like, ooh, you know what? He is the expert. 3 grand, it's a lot of money, but I can do it. Because like I said, in the big world of real agency talk, we're talking jobs that would normally cost $6, $7, $8,000. So the other idea is, what if I price anchored it at $7,000 and then said, here's your local vendor coupon for 40% off? So I guess today that I would propose that question to you. If you've gotten this far and listening to me ramble, would you do that? I'm going to check the live chat, see if anyone's asked any questions yet or give me any comments. I got nothing. I got no private messages. I got no public messages. So like, share, follow, comment, all those things so I can interact with you. But I'd really like your feedback on this one. Again, Fitness Focus Freedom Friday. The ability to kind of check out mid afternoon and run through these thoughts and strategy and planning and do these things. These are things that a lot of business owners don't take the time to do. And I know that I'm using this as an exercise to flush those thoughts with you, but I'm hoping that through my example, other people gloss some wisdom from this, right? And that is, you've got to, you've got to be mentally strong. You've got to be physically strong. You're only going to perform as well as your body lets you. You've got to be able to focus on the things that matter. You've got to be able to explore ideas and concepts at a deeper level than just looking at your calendar and going, "Oh, I'm booked today." So I think it's really important when we say Fitness Focus Freedom Fridays, it's I'm talking about fitness and focus, and then that freedom part is here it is, middle of the afternoon. If I want to have this cold beverage, I can have this cold beverage. If I want to get on here and talk to you and kind of flush out these ideas from the focus category a little bit and kind of see, okay, how am I going to develop this? How am I going to evolve this along? Right. And I have to remember that in terms of expertise. For example, let's say you go to Jiffy Lube, you get your oil changed. It costs whatever. And then let's say that you buy an Audi, and then you go to the Audi dealership. Well, that's different than going to Jiffy Lube, isn't it? Now, let's say you've had that Audi for a while and you go, you know what? I'm going to get an R8 instead. So you get an Audi R8 Cabriolet, right? And then the person working on that car, that's not the same quality person that would be working at Jiffy Lube doing the oil change. Now, I'm not talking about the quality of a person as a human being. I'm talking about the quality of a person as a technician, as an experienced, mechanical expert. So now let's say that you've really fallen in love with this R8 convertible, and it's almost the same as driving a Lamborghini, and you've got some money. So you go, you know what? I'm going to trade this in and get a Lamborghini. And now you go to the Lamborghini dealer to get your oil change done or your tune up done. You're in a whole different bracket. You went from people that might charge $65 an hour, $100 an hour in labor to people that are charging $550, $650 an hour in labor. Okay. Now, in the grand scheme of things, do bolts generally tighten to the right and loosen to the left? Yes. So what's the big deal? Well, the big deal is I'm working on a $300,000 car and I've got certifications and knowledge and know-how and I'm an expert. It's the same in this IT space. I've been working in this WordPress arena for over 20 years. I've got very intimate knowledge of different plugins and systems and tools. And although I can build a lot of projects rather quickly, the average person would spend 5x to 10x the time and get lesser results. So I need to factor that in my pricing model. And my pricing model can't be a race to the bottom. All right. Well, I don't know if you've got anything out of that, but I sure did. Hope you guys have a great, great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.